So a deal has been reached to avert another government shutdown. As you know, Donald Trump took the political position that it was perfectly okay to hold up the entirety or the working operations of part of the government that adversely affected nearly 1 million people getting a paycheck in order to get his border wall built. Shut the government down for what? 30 something days. I think it was 35 days. There was another threat of a government shutdown coming up Friday, meaning if the House and the Senate and the President could not agree on a funding bill, and let's be honest, some element of border security, because Donald Trump is mandating that, even though the Democrats were already giving it, that the government will be shut down again. Apparently, a tentative deal has been reached. Donald Trump comes out and says he's not happy with this deal. Now, some of the other conservatives are also saying that they are unhappy with this deal. Laura Ingraham was one of the cases that the Washington Times put up, making the point that this deal should not be accepted by conservatives. But despite Donald Trump showing dissatisfaction with the deal, he also kind of made the point that I'm going to be adding stuff to it, and then adding stuff to it, it's going to make this deal acceptable. Fair enough. Apparently, he's also talked to Mitch McConnell, even though the contents of that conversation are not necessarily known. I can imagine Mitch McConnell, who's come out saying that he's okay with this deal and he's going to push to get this deal done, probably told Donald Trump that another shutdown is unacceptable, and you need to get on board, whether you like it or not. That's my thought. I could be wrong on this. I have the sneaking suspicion that Mitch McConnell doesn't necessarily want to have another government shutdown, because at the end of the day, it is still McConnell that's giving Donald Trump a certain degree of cover on the shutdown because Republicans were never bringing the bills up. So let's take a look at, let's see, let's watch the Post. I like to watch the Post version of this. And I just read it out. It's not much to the story, it's just straightforward. Let's go with this one. Trump criticizes bipartisan border deal to avert another government shutdown. And I love this picture. Finish the wall! Finish the wall. That's sad and grossly unempathetic. President Trump said Tuesday he's not happy with the bipartisan border deal in Congress that would avert another government shutdown set to start on Friday. I can't say I'm happy. I can't say I'm thrilled, Donald Trump told reporters as he met members of the cabinet and the White House a day after the deal was struck, giving Trump a fraction of the money he sought for his U.S.-Mexican border wall. Now, Trump was asking, I forget the amount that Trump was asking for, but that amount was a fraction of, I think he was asking for $5 billion. That was a fraction of the 30 or 100 billion, how much ever it costs to build the wall. It depends on how long or how many sections you're talking about, but you're talking about billions of dollars that well exceed the $5 billion. At a certain point, the $5 billion was just a touchstone that he could hold up and say, see, I'm doing something about the border wall stuff. I've let you down on a host of other issues, but at the very least, I'm trying to build that wall. I'm trying to build that wall since Mexico is not going to pay for it. Fool you for believing that. At the same time, Trump said he did not think there would be another government shutdown. If you have it, it's the Democrats' fault, he added. I love that. I would hope that they won't shut it down, Trump said. I'm extremely unhappy with what the Democrats have given us. Trump's comments cast doubt on the path forward for the compromise, which must pass the House and the Senate and be signed into law before midnight on Friday. Unless Congress and Trump can act on the legislation or take some other action, large portions of the federal government will run out of money and begin to shut down just 3 weeks after the last partial shutdown ended. The agreement, which includes $1.3575 billion for 55 miles of new fences along the border, short of the $5.7 billion Trump had sought for the more than 200 miles of walls, it retreats from Democrats' demands for stringent new limits on the ability of the U.S. Immigration and Customs ICE Enforcement Agency to detain undocumented immigrants. Lawmakers pulled the deal together during hours of the arduous negotiations on Capitol on Monday, after talks had collapsed over the weekend over the new Democrats' demand over how many immigrants ICE can contain. That's an odd demand, even though I understand it, right? I mean, how do you forcibly say you can contain X, and the moment that it exceeds beyond X, you can no longer contain it? It's just a little odd thing. Either you use ICE or you get rid of ICE. I guess you could put constraints on ICE, but I don't know. That's somewhat of an odd demand. If you want to get rid of ICE, fair enough, get rid of ICE. But the trying to constrain it in this way just seems would not work in practice. But I could be wrong. Lawmakers said that they were motivated by a desire to avoid another government shutdown after 35-day funding lapse forced 800,000 federal workers to go without pay until Trump reopened the government with a short-term spending bill that Congress has 3 weeks to come up with a deal. The deadline arrives Friday night. This is just a heads up. Let me see. So there's another one 3 hours ago. The latest update on this. Am I happy at first glance? The answer is no. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Trump told reporters at the White House or the cabinet members. It's not going to do the trick, but I'm adding things to it. And when you add to whatever I have to add, it's all going to happen where we're going to have a big, beautiful, strong wall. The way he talks like a child. A number of Senate Republicans were cognizant of Trump's uneasiness with the deal, but they also noted that he had stopped short of saying it was unacceptable. Trump spoke with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell about the meeting on midday. A person briefed with the call said, though the precise contents of the conversation could not be learned. So, look, it looks like they're coming to some level of compromise to pass the bill. I imagine conservatives are not going to be happy, seeing as they may get some funding for some kind of border thing, which again, the Democrats were going to give them anyway. But this idea of a big, beautiful, strong wall that's going to be built with $1 billion when it costs like $100 billion to do, it's, you're trying to get anything that you can to claim as a win. So good luck with that. In other pieces, I've seen Trump saying, potentially thinking about national security or national emergency stuff, even after this. And I gotta be honest, I have no idea what Donald Trump is gonna add to this that makes this work. That's hilarious to me. He's gonna be like, I'm adding things to it. But whatever, we'll see. Friday, if they don't pass this by Friday, meaning House, Senate with the president's signature, because either Trump is adding a new term or somebody else in the mix adds a new term, the government will shut down again. Up to this point, it looks, however, that they're trying to avert it with political theater with the border. So this one wasn't meant to be long. This one was just literally an update on shutdown, since I was covering the shutdown in the other piece, and I thought it was a big deal to cover the shutdown. Let's see. That's some 100% trust fund kid math right there. Miracles do happen. Miracles do happen after all. Hey, Trudy. What's happening, Trudy? What's happening, Marsha? What's happening, Brandon? What's happening to everybody that's here? I hope the government shutdowns again so workers can strike. Jay, man. The funny part about this is, I don't know if you're being facetious or if you're being serious. If they shut the government down again, one of the issues that they were having were TSA workers. Because if TSA workers are not on their jobs, do the planes fly? I would imagine no. You're screwing over all of these various people in these various agencies that, for whatever reason, continues to go into work. And I suspect they were concerned that they were going to lose their jobs, because many of them did drift away to other jobs. The fact of the matter is, you would have gotten more bang for your buck if all of it would have came to a halt. All of it stopped, because all of those workers decided that they were going to buck federal law and go out and strike. Put on yellow vests while you're at it. It would have been an amazing thing. That government shutdown could have not lasted those 30 days if people weren't necessarily still going into those jobs. If people still weren't going into those jobs. So, Jay, I agree with you on that. I mean, my issue here is I don't want people to be injured or hurt by stuff like this. But in the case where Trump shut it down, it left an opportunity to, take that opportunity. I don't necessarily know if I'd be happy with another government shutdown in that case, but When the opportunity presented itself, yes, they should have struck while the iron was hot. I agreed. All right, I'm going to end this. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through PayPal or Patreon. Thanks all.